Deborah Liter. Welcome to the Fit Soul podcast. Girl, I am so glad to have you here today. So exciting.
I am so excited to be here, Amy. Thank you for having me. I love you so much. Yeah.
Girl, I love you so much too. We go way back. We were just catching up before we hit record, and both of us got a little teary-eyed, a little emotional. We've been friends for more than 20 years. And
wow.
Gosh, number one, I don't want to sound like the old lady. Where did the years go?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we go way back and lots happened. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been through a lot together. There's just something really precious about a long-standing, deep-seated relationship where you have so much history together, and our foundation of our friendship has always been the Lord and family. And so we've just always had that together, and no matter what's happened or gone on, we may not talk for years, but Deborah's the type, one quick little second, hey girl, what's up? And we're off to the races, like you picked up where you left off 5 years ago or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a soul connection, we have a heart connection. So time doesn't matter when you've got that. So
no. We'll be wee old ladies still together.
Yes.
We old ladies. Yes. Okay. So Deborah is, I'll go over some of her credentials. It's kind of a lot though. I mean, these are big, fancy words, Deborah. You may have to explain these, break them down.
I will.
I will. We're talking today about restoring energy in some ways that are going to sound it's kind of simple. The thing about this is the thing that drew me to that. I reached out to Deborah. I'm like, girl, I got to get you on the podcast. We've got to talk about this because so many women are struggling with their energy level. And a lot of the women that listen to my podcast, Deborah, are over 40, that kind of over 40 years old. Mm-hmm. And so many of the women that I talk to, they're looking for energy, increased energy. And gosh, they've tried so many, nutrition is the foundation for functional nutrition, for functional, right? Anything functional integrative. So that's always kind of my go-to. And, of course, all of the different things that we're going to talk about together, but this one thing, so I want y'all to get excited about this. This one thing is free and it's available to everyone. And it's so simple to do. So you guys, you're going to want to pay attention to this, and we might throw around a few big words, but just know that how to get energy is actually free for you. It's available for you. And I find this so mind-blowing and so fascinating, Deborah. So Deborah is, we're going to talk a little bit about, she's an integrative health practitioner, and she has a certification in applied quantum biology. Is it a certification or a degree, Deborah?
It's a certification, yeah. No, not a degree.
So fancy. Can you imagine having a degree in that? Okay. This sounds so fancy. And this is based in quantum biology. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, quantum. So I know that sounds like kind of we hear that word a lot. Like, what does that actually mean? So it's really talking about getting down to the very smallest level of everything. So for biology, that would be like your mitochondria, your cells, your, electrons, protons, photons, those kind of things. So how those things are running the show of how we feel. So important.
Right. Okay. So
that's kind of quantum.
That's quantum. So, as you were just talking about that, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell, right? This is where we're going to get like most of our energy. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And what we don't realize is a lot of us think we're just getting energy like from food. And obviously that is one place we do get energy, but there's two other places that our mitochondria need to get energy from. And that is actually sunlight and grounding. So those are a couple of things that are really big in applied quantum biology, because we can gather electrons from the sun, we can gather electrons from the earth, and we also get it from our food. So we really need to be taking care of our mitochondria. I don't think we realize that really all of our modern chronic diseases are rooted in mitochondrial dysfunction. So,
fascinating.
It's time we want to get to the root. A lot of times in integrative health, we talk about root cause.
Right.
And even with a lot of things we do in integrative health, we're just scratching, like we're still kind of putting a Band-Aid on symptoms. And we really want to get to the very bottom, which is your mitochondria. So
Yeah.
that's what I've learned in this course. Yeah.
Well, I just love this. And so let's take it just a little bit simpler, because I don't want, if you're listening to this and you're like, what the heck is mitochondria? Don't worry about it. Like, seriously, don't worry about it. But here's what happened. So a couple of years ago, Deborah on Facebook posted something about morning sunlight and how she was looking at the morning sunlight. She just mentioned, like, go and get 10 minutes or so. I can't even remember, Deborah. Like, I just, sometimes when you read things and you don't grasp like all of the details, but you're like, hey, I can go try that, And I remember seeing your post and thinking, oh, I can go try that, because I'm very familiar with grounding. I know the benefits of that.
Yeah.
I'm an integrative nutrition health coach as well. And I also had been hearing about sunlight and like even your eyes. It's good for your eyes to see the sunlight, and don't wear sunglasses before 12 o'clock. So I'm hearing these bits and pieces, and I trust what Deborah's going to put out into the universe. Like, I would actually absolutely trust her. So I did it. But here's the thing. I wasn't super consistent with it. You know how you do things. You're like, oh, let me do it. But I would do it, but I wasn't super consistent. But then just several weeks ago, you posted something else, and you shared your story of all that you were doing in your life, right? All of the wonderful things, because you're a former Faster Way to Fat Loss coach. And there's nothing wrong with Faster Way, you guys. If you are on Faster Way, or if you're a Faster Way coach, more power to you. But Deborah used to be one, and she was, I don't know, I just read through her post, and then I read through this quantum word. I'm like, what the heck? But I was captivated, Deborah. Literally, I was like, oh my gosh. And I just screenshotted it. I text you. I'm like, I got to get you on the podcast. So I actually saved my questions for this podcast, but my questions are so simple. You're gonna be like, but I would love for you to just break down your story a little bit, Deborah, and share with where you were and what was going on, and share a little bit more about this.
Okay, yeah. So about 2 years ago, right at this time, it was right at springtime. I was 49 at the time. There's a lot of changes going on at this time of life. But I was doing all the right things, like you said. I was I was lifting weights weekly, tracking my macros, and I was in very good physical health. I was feeling good, but I was very tired. Like, when I say tired, I could not get through the day without needing a nap or a couple of shots of espresso, like at 3 or 4 in the day, just to get me through my evening. Like, it was rough. And I was also struggling with, I'm not going to call it depression, because it really wasn't quite that bad, but just that blah feeling where you're just not yourself, and it's just really hard to get up and go. So I was exhausted, basically. And my husband had decided to go out of town for a month to renovate my parents' kitchen in another state. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to bed at 8 o'clock. My kids are older. They can take care of everything. So I started going to bed at 8 o'clock. Naturally, after a few days of that, I'm starting to wake up so much earlier. And at this point, I had been listening to a lot of Instagram accounts on Circadian Health, where, these people are talking about the same thing, like, go get morning sun, morning sun, morning sun. And I'm like, okay. And I had tried it a few times too, Amy, just like you did. I kind of dabbled in it here and there, and I did like it, but I had never committed, to making it a practice. But at this point, I got up, got myself out, and I started realizing very quickly, within a few days, like, wait, I'm like getting through my whole day with, no crashes. My moods started to improve. And of course, at first I'm just like, well, it's probably because I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock. I mean, that's probably it. But there was something about maybe the ritual of going outside, really connecting and spending some time in nature and getting that sunlight. And I was also going out barefoot, so I was grounding, that it quickly became like addictive, almost became a little bit like obsessed. Like, I've got to get out and get my morning sun. Like, it was changing me in a way that was very surprising. So it just became my habit. It became something that was like a non-negotiable. I'm going to get my morning sun. And so I did go on and learn, like, why is this working? Like, why do I feel so much better when I do this? And I just quickly learned, like you were talking about, the light does interact with our eye. And it's particularly morning light is going to signal to our brain, like we have a master clock in our brain. and it's going to start a cascade of processes that activate our sex hormones, our neurotransmitters, like those things that make us feel good, like serotonin and dopamine and norepinephrine. Things like, producing melatonin. So there's all this stuff going on that if you're not getting that morning light, and we're just bathed in a lot of toxic light, blue light, like from our devices or, overhead lights, that we're not getting the proper signals. Like our body does not know what to do. So there's a lot of chaos going on. So I think that's where I was before. I think my hormones were a little out of whack. I wasn't getting those neurotransmitters going like I wanted to get. So once I started getting that morning light and all those things started syncing back up, it's like magic. Like I'm telling you, it's like magic.
Amazing.
I really just almost felt reborn. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? So
Yeah.
what time of day does that matter? How soon
Yeah.
after I get up when it's still dark? Like it's just dark for a hot minute for me when I get up, but
Sure.
what time does that, I mean, the timing of the light, can you share with us
Yeah,
how you
it
did
is.
that process?
Yeah, it is important, and kind of chronological order is important because everything is kind of building. So ideally you want to wake up, you really want to go get sunlight first thing. Like if you're up like you are before the sun comes up, Amy, this is where you would want to get a pair of blue light blocking glasses and have them by your bed to put those on, like
Do
especially
you
like
remember, Deborah? Hang on. I just
oh
thought
yeah.
about something. Do you remember? I don't know what we were doing. We were talking about something years ago, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I just got these glasses in. What do you think?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I
They were big and ugly.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, "Are they ugly?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I think those might be
Yeah.
birth control glasses. Have you found some cuter ones?
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I needed some. They have a lot cuter ones now, by the way. Like
Okay.
there's some really nice blue light blocking glasses you can get. But
Okay.
honestly, when we wake up and we just like stick our phone in our face, before we get out of bed, we're actually getting like a dump of cortisol into our system, that stress hormone that, causes a lot of belly fat, and just it really disrupts so
Fascinating.
many hormonal cycles. So
Do they
ideally putting on
make
blue light.
blue light blockers with readers?
Oh, yeah, you can. Actually, you definitely can. Yeah.
Y'all
So it's,
go order your blue. Okay, listen, we're sounding really like we're midlife here. Order your blue light
yeah,
blockers with your readers and you'll be
yeah,
good. So, and
yeah,
don't pick up your phone first thing anyway, right?
yeah. It's just not, you're already, before the day even starts, you're like sending a chaotic signal because your
Interesting.
brain is going, oh my gosh, it is 12 noon. That's how bright that light is. We're behind. Dump cortisol, dump cortisol, dump cortisol, which in
Interesting.
the morning you want your cortisol to just naturally rise. So when we go out and view sunrise, particularly like sunrise, like as it's coming up over the horizon, it's going to signal a slow release of cortisol. It's going to wake you up. There's so many properties. I could go on and about the science behind it. You've got infrared light that's good for your eyeballs. It's good for your skin. It's good for, inflammation in your body.
Wow.
So, seeing that morning sunrise is really important. If you don't have a lot of time, like even if you just roll your, window down in your car or open your window in your house, on naked eyes, this is very important. Like contacts and glasses really are going to interfere. So,
Fascinating.
you really need to have naked eyes for sure. But even just rolling
Fascinating.
down your window, the light frequency is going to get to you. So if you're like super
Crazy.
busy in the morning,
Crazy.
step outside for 2 minutes, roll down your window, open your window in your house. But
Deborah,
that's
did
all
you
you can
say
do.
2 or 10? 2 or 10?
For what? I'm sorry.
You said step outside for 2 minutes or
Oh,
10 minutes?
like even just 2 minutes. Yeah. Even if you just had two
Crazy.
minutes, just getting that natural light into your eye to signal to the master clock in your brain, that's going to be better than nothing. Like you start where you start. So for me, like I'm spending as much time as possible outside. It really depends on my day, but the morning sunlight is super important. That sunrise light is important. But I do want to point out there is another set of frequency that comes about an hour after sunrise. That's UVA light. That's the light that really starts to signal things like your sex hormones, your melatonin, your leptin, which has to do with our satiety and our body fat and how much energy is on our, our body's able to burn. Like this has to do with metabolism, just so many things.
Okay. So
So
my mind is blown right now, and this is
yeah.
fascinating. I have a question then. So
Mhm.
get up. So then you're saying, I'm just trying to process this through. I'm an early riser, so this is not an issue for me. Like I'm up when I'm
Right.
up before the sun is up, on most days. But get out. Do you try to know when the sun, right? Like, are you aware of what time the sun is rising and you're out? Okay. And then you're
Yeah.
saying,
And
so
there's
maybe what
apps. There's apps.
apps? What's the name? What app do you recommend?
Well, there's the app that I use the most that I really love, it's just called Circadian. It's called Circadian, and it's going to tell you when sun is rising. It's going to tell you when UVA light is available. It's going to tell you like when UVB light comes in, and that's the light we make vitamin D with in our skin. Yeah, it's going to go through the whole day, and that particular app has
Wow.
a ton of education on
Wow.
circadian biology. So
So
it's,
you
I
go
think it's
out
like
a couple of
$12.
times. So you're like, okay, now it's an hour later. I'm going to go back out so I can get the leptin. I can get, and you
Yep.
go and are you like barefoot grounding and you're just focusing on the sun?
Yeah, so like I go get my morning sunlight. Usually I'll walk out on my front porch to get the sunrise light. I may not stay out there quite as long. Then I come back in and kind of see what my day is looking like. Depends on how busy things are, deal with the dog or whatever. Then I usually make my breakfast. Then I take my breakfast outside and I eat my breakfast while I'm sitting barefoot on the ground facing east to get my UVA light. So that's like my ritual. That's and depending on what my day looks like, I'll stay out there, 10 minutes to an hour, depending on what I can do. But I'm outside pretty much all morning as much as I can.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm just kind of thinking through for a woman of faith, for a woman that's like, you know what, I like to have my quiet time in the morning and not like you could literally just take your scripture, your Bible, your whatever,
Yeah.
your breakfast, your coffee or water or tea, whatever you're drinking. And you're saying, what do you have to stare? I mean, I know this sounds so basic, Deborah, so don't laugh at me, but I feel like I won't be the only one with this question. So I know that part of it, that getting the sunrise is really important. I mean, the sun is really important, like on your skin, it's good for your skin. But in this whole, okay, we're not going to take this could be an easy derailing situation, but skin cancer has not gone down because we're covering ourselves with all of the sunblock. Am I right or am I right?
Oh, there's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole
on
nother
that.
one.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you back on. We'll talk about that next time. And at the same time, I do cover my face for the most part with sunblock because I don't want the aging on my face. So I get it. But anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's okay. We're not going to go there. All right.
Totally right then.
But you don't have to be staring at the sun, or do you need to be staring at the sun? What are you saying there?
No, I would say do not stare directly at the sun. The only time I'm looking directly at the sun is literally when it's coming up over the horizon. Now, I do have like trees I mean, my house faces east, my front porch does. So I'm looking that way, but in the wintertime when the leaves aren't on the trees, I can see the sun come up. So I'm looking at the sun then. And this could get into something else too, but I do wear contacts. My vision is not good.
Right.
But that really early morning infrared light is really healing for the eyes. And there's a lot of people who've improved their vision. So I do look at the sun during sunrise and it's comfortable. There comes to a point where you cannot look at the sun. It's not going to feel good on your eyes. So clearly do not look at the sun when that's happening, because that can damage your eyes when it starts to get more the UV light to look directly. So you could take your Bible outside or whatever and just be in light. Light is going to find its way to your retina. You don't have to be staring directly at it.
I'm glad I asked that question then. Okay. Yeah. So then let me kind of make sure I've got this right. What's important to do is to go and look at the sun when it's rising. Mine's like yours, Deborah. My porch is like, well, you've been to my house. I've been to your house. It's filtered through the tree. So I really don't even get a very good look at the sun, but
it's okay.
And so are you recommending, didn't you say about 10 minutes would be ideal if you could just kind of ground
I mean,
yourself?
yes. I would say as much time as you can spend. Like, I know, but I'm being realistic. Like, I work from home, so I do have the privilege and the ability to structure my day around this. And now that I've learned so much about the health benefits of it, like I do structure my day around sunlight and getting outside. But I know I have the privilege to do that. But you don't have to be a work from home to be able to do this. So if you've got 2 minutes, go take 2 minutes on the front porch. If you have 15 minutes, take 15 minutes. I mean, it's whatever you can do, but I would say at least 2 to 10 minutes of sunrise light is ideal. And then particularly if you're somebody really struggling with hormonal imbalance, metabolism or really low energy, like especially if your mood is affected, if you're somebody who just our mental health, there's so much of that going on these days. I'm gonna like there are healing doses of sunlight, and I would say at least 15 minutes of UVA light is going to be super important just to get, the signals working, your brain working with your body and sending the correct signals, producing the right amount of hormones, releasing all of that. You're also producing melatonin and UVA light that you're going to use later on. And let me tell you, you want your melatonin to be at a good place because melatonin is so important for our health. So
Wow.
10 minutes in sunrise, 15 minutes in UVA light, like minimums those would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so this is so fascinating. I love this. Now let me ask you a question. I feel like I'm asking like kindergarten level questions.
No,
One of
nobody knows this stuff, Amy. I didn't know it. Yeah.
one of the things that I actually enjoy doing is honestly, I do get up so early and have my little time, but by the time usually the sun starts to rise, especially this time of year, I'm ready to get up and move my body. And so I actually enjoy going on, I just call it a little prayer walk. And so would that almost have the same benefit, even if I'm not kind of looking at the sun, but gathering that morning light and just, that's a great time to, if I'm going to do, so what you're saying is, y'all listen up. If you want to get, I call it that worthy walk in, and you want to go for your walk and like, motion creates emotion. And for me, I actually pray better when I'm in motion. I can actually, my brain is engaged because my body's engaged and I don't get as distracted.
Yes.
So you're saying that this was actually a beautiful idea to go walking in the sun in the morning, even if it's cold or no matter what time of year it is, this is the same benefits, right?
Yes.
Okay, I got to
Absolutely.
schedule this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna schedule my prayer walk in. Then I'm gonna put that on my schedule because hormonally, it's going to be a good thing for me. I'll gain energy, and I just actually enjoy it a lot. I just need to lay my clothes out the night before. That's the key for me.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, there's actually so much benefit to exercising in sunlight. So, I mean, since I learned this, I mean, there's more stuff going on your body at the mitochondrial level when we exercise in sunlight. So, I mean, I've been like taking my weights outside now that the weather's getting warmer and doing exercise barefoot outside on the ground. Like, I'm just looking for all the ways I can to get myself outside, get connected to nature. Especially, this is really important, especially if you're somebody who sits in front of a computer all day, or you're on your phone, you're in like fluorescent or LED overhead lights, like in an office building. Even if you can't get outside for long periods of time, anytime you have a break and get outside and view natural sunlight and you get sunlight on your skin, we have receptors in our skin also that signals to the body, not just the eyes, but the skin. Anytime you do that, you are going to improve your health. You just are. So just being mindful and intentional about it is really just where to start with it. So yeah, morning walks that's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, I love this so much. I can't love this enough. So this is a way to gain energy, to help heal your hormones naturally, to help you sleep better. And the more you sleep better, I mean, sleep is like the epitome of everything that you need for your body to run properly. So a nighttime routine will really play into this as well. Making sure you're getting that sleep properly. But, Deborah, before we hit record on this, we were talking about quantum, and this can sound a little bit woo woo, but you're talking about nature and who made the sun, who made the world, who created
Yes.
all of these systems in place, and what used to be natural for people to be up and out, working outside. Like you didn't go to the Kroger to grab your groceries. No, you had to go get it in your garden and farm and all of that. So what we know as natural today is so unnatural, really, for the way that God created the world in our bodies. And we have to take that extra effort to go out and to make this happen. This is fascinating. Oh my gosh. I know that my listeners are going to be blown away by all of this. So Deborah, how long did it take for you when you started to implement this consistently in your life? How long did it take for you to see the benefit?
I mean, honestly, Amy, for me, it was so fast. It's almost like I didn't even notice. I mean, I literally was like, whoa, wait, I didn't nap today. I didn't need to nap. Wait, I'm feeling so much happier. Like, what is this? It was so subtle. But it was quick for me. It was quick. Now, depending, everybody's a little different, and maybe depends on how chaotic your signaling is in your body and how much time you spend under artificial light. Like that may impact how long it takes for you. But I think anybody who decides to just implement this consistently is going to see some changes probably fairly quickly. Now, I do need to, you mentioned it about like the nighttime. There is a nighttime routine that really needs to be paired. If you're doing all the morning stuff, then there's some things you need to do at night in order for it to really work. That's why I'm saying there's kind of a chronological order to how we want to do this. So you really just need to be blocking blue light at night. That's all I want to say about that. Like you need to get some glasses when the sun goes down. If you're doing all the morning stuff and you're not blocking blue light at night, then you're really you're not undoing it, but you're definitely not getting the full benefit. So those ugly blue light blockers are the cute ones, the new ones you get. Mine go on.
One pair. It was just funny. It was just that one pair.
They were bad. They were cheap and they were bad.
You were like,
yeah, my
you asked me, I think you said, Amy, do these look bad? I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, those are awful. Don't wear those.
I totally asked you. Yeah, I have those somewhere still. I don't think I wear them anymore, but my blue light blockers go on. And you know what? My brain is actually looking for my blue light blockers because they're orange lens. So it's very soothing for our brains to have that warmer light. I mean, think about native people or ancestral people, like at night, you would only have fire.
That's true.
Or even, now if there's a bonfire, everybody's like staring at that fire because it's so soothing and calming. So that's kind of what the blue light blockers do. It puts your brain in a place to go, okay, it's nighttime. We're going to stop with the cortisol. We're going to start with the melatonin here pretty soon. And you really got to be blocking blue light at night if you want to get the full benefit. So
okay. Everybody, y'all go order you some blue light blockers and need readers. That's okay. Grab some with readers. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally fine.
Okay. So Deborah, this has been fascinating. You know what I'm going to put in the show notes is I have a morning routine and it talks about how to have a nighttime routine. I'm going to put that, it's called my Worthy Morning Routine. I'm going to put that in our show notes. So it just kind of helps to start that routine. But I want, before we wrap up, can you talk a little bit, and you're going to be like, Amy, seriously, just a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about grounding? And because you mentioned that from the onset, and I know that you go out and you ground and you look at the sun. There's benefits to like barefoot, feet in the earth type thing. Y'all, this is not woo-woo. If you're just hearing these things for the first time in your life, number one, it works, but it's not woo-woo. I mean, so can you just talk a tiny bit about grounding?
Yeah. Super fast. So really, I think I mentioned at the beginning, like our body gets energy. There's like 3 different ways that our body gets energy, these electrons that the mitochondria use to produce energy. And one of those ways is grounding. So like if you're never ever grounding, you're missing out on a way to actually gather energy from the earth, which I know sounds crazy, but there's so much science on it. So it's going to help reduce inflammation in the body. So particularly if you're inflamed, and if you're inflamed, like you need to spend as much time barefoot as possible. Um, it's just going to really get down to the cellular level of, whatever kind of issues you're having. And it's going to focus that healing energy toward, where it kind of needs to go in the body. So, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Like,
Amazing.
go ground, gather electrons. You're going to be, gain energy. You're going to feel just more connected. I think you mentioned it at the beginning, like the more disconnected we are from nature, the sicker we are, Amy. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
I agree.
really where we are. So we all know this intuitively. I think we know this, but we forget it. So we
Yeah.
just got to get back to kind of how we were as kids. I was always barefoot in the
Yeah.
sun when I was a kid. So
Yeah. Okay. Now this is again just another basic question. Does it
yeah.
need to be in grass, or does concrete count
Okay.
too?
Okay, you know what? You can actually ground on concrete, not asphalt, not wood. So any kind of dirt, sand, grass, even like dried leaves. And concrete, you still can gather some electrons that way. It's not ideal. Like dirt would be better,
Right.
or grass, something like that. But yeah.
Okay. My mind is blown. I this is part one. I don't know when part two is going to be, Deborah. We'll have to figure that out. But I feel like this just
Oh,
needs to
there's so
follow
much.
up. There's
Yeah, there's
so much.
so much. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Deborah, let me ask you this. People that
Mhm.
are listening, do you take online clients? Are you able to coach? Because you do coaching one-on-one, right?
Yeah. I
Are
do.
you able to accept out of state? How do people like connect with you or apply to work with you?
Yeah, I'll take clients from anywhere. I mean, so
Okay.
everything's virtual these days.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of work around mineral balancing, which really it goes very well with light and very well with just low energy. With mineral balancing has a lot to do with the nervous system, and actually like getting outside in sunlight and grounding. Those are all very important safety signals to our nervous system. So everything's connected. So yeah, I do a lot of hair tissue mineral testing. And now that I've got this certification, I'm definitely applying these they're called circadian principles, based around the sun, to just really help people get healing at the most foundational level. So yeah, I do that. I have a free guide, Amy, called Building Your Best Circadian Day, which
Oh, wow.
outlines a lot of the steps that we talked about. Because I know it's a lot. It's like, what do I do here, when, all that. So I've got a little guide that kind of outlines that for people if they're interested
Oh,
in
amazing.
getting that.
Yes. Well, we'll definitely put that in our show notes.
Yeah,
I'm going to be grabbing that myself for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
This is fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. You know what I forgot to mention? You're a beautiful singer.
Oh, that's
We used to
thank
sing
you. You are
together.
too. You are too. We did used to sing together. Yeah, that was back in the day. We spent a lot of time singing. I don't sing much anymore. Do you still sing, Amy?
Don't. It is so funny. People here don't even know that like I'm a singer unless I just belt it out, like I just,
Yeah, you're a great singer. Yeah, and I just yeah,
Oh,
it's
we should
not
have
something I
planned it.
do.
We should do a little something ending this podcast. I can't think of a song.
Girl, I am out of practice. Please do not ask me to sing.
Oh my
That
gosh.
is not. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm kind of joking, but this is so fascinating, Deborah. I appreciate you coming on and sharing this information and your passion for it. I'm so glad that you're learning about all these
Yeah.
little details, and
Yeah.
it can really change somebody's life. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounded like when I heard leptin, you guys, that means lose weight. That helps control your satiety. And
Yeah,
you
it
want,
does.
a lot of people just
Mhm.
struggle with eating too much and just always kind of hungry because the leptin's not
Oh
balanced.
yeah.
Reduce inflammation. So if you're talking about reducing inflammation, feeling better, having more energy, and what was the other thing? Losing
Well, I
weight.
don't know if I mentioned this, but this is really important. I mean,
Fascinating.
yeah, I work with a lot of women who have thyroid issues. This is very connected to light
Amazing.
is very connected to thyroid health. So yeah, I just won't go into more than that, but it's very important for
Okay,
thyroid
so
health.
tell me, make sure I'm saying this right, because what I've got is 5 things. If you want to naturally reduce inflammation, help balance your hormones, sleep better at night, lose weight, and there was one other big benefit I
Improve
remember.
your mood, like
Improve your mood.
like
Go and practice these principles. Get in the morning sunlight. It was so simple. It's such a simple solution, Deborah. This is phenomenal. I mean, literally phenomenal. And it just makes sense. So, you know, like, I feel like you're right. It's like intuitive. It's like, okay, God made this. He did not make these unnatural lights and for us to be inside. God made all of these things. And it's just getting back to the way that, the circadian, what did you call this? Circadian rhythm. That's all it is. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we were designed, our biology is designed to run on the sunlight. And so think about how much we're not in the sun, how much we're not outside. And, you know, that correlates with a lot of sickness. So, you know, let's get back outside, get our feet on the ground, and just be intentional. If you feel like, oh, I can't do it for 10 or 15 minutes, do it for 2 minutes, 1 minute. Anything's better than nothing.
Do a smidgy, even just a smidgy. Okay. So you guys, here's the thing. I would love to hear what you think about this podcast. Number one, you can get connected with Deborah. It's going to be in the show notes. I can tell you were just going to have to be a regular guest on this podcast. Are you good with that, Deborah?
Yeah, I would love that. I have so much to share. Yeah.
I know. You're just going to be a regular. So Deborah's going to be coming back, but if you want to connect with her, check in the show notes. She has a free gift for you, and it's all about just finding this circadian rhythm. So you can go grab that. I would totally grab that. And we would love for you to let us know the feedback. You can hit her up on her DMs or mine as well. But I would love for you to, you guys help us get this word out. Number one, the first way you can help that is download this episode. Deborah, did you know, because Deborah's about to start a podcast, did you know that downloads are a thing? I didn't know this.
Like, I mean, I think I download podcasts, Amy. I think I do. Like, if I'm going to go on an airplane, I always make sure I have things downloaded. And
no,
is that what
did
you mean?
You know that when you start your podcast, Deborah, downloads count for your podcast and they help them get them out at a higher level. I didn't know.
Okay.
And when they go to looking at like how successful your podcast is, they look at the number of downloads. Y'all do your sister Amy here a big, do girlfriend Amy a big a flavor, right? Y'all go download all my podcast, and you can actually automatically download it. Like you can push a button. So that's a big deal. So would you screenshot this podcast, throw it in your stories, and I'll definitely shout you back out. But it's a big deal to help get this word out. And this is such a good word. So I love this so much. I love you so much. I miss you. And a girls trip at the beach is coming soon.
Yes. Girls, sun, sand. We're going to,
yes, I can't wait. Yeah. That's going to be so good. Yeah. I'm going to be so good.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, letting me talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to share this. Tell Michael, let's say hello, and all the kids, give them a big hug for me. And all right, you guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to the Fit Soul podcast. We will see you on the next one.
Yay.